All right, this is Sue's 11 Tarot. Oh my god, this is so funny. Okay, I was trying, it's nighttime and it's dark in this room, so I was trying to do lighting, and it was so bright that it looked like Alice was like, ah! Anyway, okay, so I'm going to move it over here and hopefully that'll be good enough. Okay. All right, so this we're on Aquarius. Okay, now let me start over. The energies that kind of came streaming through. I earlier I did the Pisces reading, and I felt like that Taurus energy that showed up was the Uranus, the surprise energy, and it kind of felt like it was like embracing the unknown kind of energy. Okay. So I went and looked up all kinds of Alice in Wonderland symbolism that had to do with this reading. Okay, so, okay, but the positive thing about this card, and I think this card showed up in another reading, but I don't remember what the meaning was for that reading. Okay, but anyway, in this reading, okay, the positive aspects of this was um, being able to use strategy to get out of situations and things. Okay, and it was like taking charge the best you could in the situations that were being presented in the earth realm. Okay, but let me back up. But this is Alice in Wonderland now. So, okay. So there's like an undertone of kind of a restless kind of feeling, like when someone has a dream and they toss and turn. So that was the kind of feeling I was picking up. Okay. And I felt like the energy again that was going to get someone out of all of this was the creativity energy and the imagination energy, which I felt like this card represented. Okay. And let's see, anything else? Like I was picking up the apron, it was like when things spill, right? And so I kind of got that. Like when you spill a cup of tea or something, it's like um, not making a big deal out of it, like knowing that it could be washed or that it was just something that happened or an experience, right? Or something that you learn from one movement, like in Allison's dream. Okay. All right, so now this also could be on the shadow side. I was picking up like it could have represented someone that's an opposition or energy, or someone who's like you feel like maybe even an enemy, right? But what I liked about it was there was a sense of safety, no matter what it was presenting. Okay, and this energy could be sometimes in the shadow, like wicked, right? Wicked, maybe promiscuous. So if you know a gentleman that is like that, covets things, that could be your opposition. Okay. Um, Manipulates business people, use charm to do uh, terrible things. Okay. What else did I get? Oh, so I don't know if there's a fear or what, but this is like feeling like someone could, because that part of the Pisces reading was feeling like a lover was going to be taken away. Okay, so this card sometimes can represent that, but I feel like that's in that reading it was there was no question. It was just a fear, and it was clear. Here, it's like, was there some situation that caused you to believe that? Like, for example, did you catch someone looking at your person? That kind of energy. Okay. And because there's a question mark here. Okay. Whereas in the Pisces reading, there was no question mark. Okay. All right. So yeah, let me get into the, okay, so that was that card. Okay. And then the House of Cards. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that. Okay, so let's put this down and go over here. Okay. Now, recently, the Ace of Spades, right? Okay, let's talk about that. Recently, I saw an Ace of Spades on a person that crossed over. Okay, so, and it was like one of the things he kept in his pocket. Okay, so when this scene happens in Alice in Wonderland, they're throwing not real balls. These are actually animals that are being tossed. Okay. This creature here. Okay. And it was peculiar because in the Pisces reading, I picked up creature like unlike any other. But here it's like these creatures are just kind of being tossed around here and there. Okay. All right. And the flamingo was part of the croquet playing. Okay. Did I get any symbolism on that? Oh, this is interesting. What did I write here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say. Although the Queen of Hearts didn't show up here, that she's in that scene. Okay. And she's like running around and I and here I wrote down because I felt like this was important. It was symbolic of the absurdity of power, right? And I thought that was so fascinating because if you turn on TV or turn on, if you go on social media or anything, you see that, right? The absurdity of power. Okay. And but with this shadow over here, this one, okay, it's like this was coming in. It was like the potential for tyranny. Okay, the feeling of it, right? And what is so interesting is after everything, she figures out that it's just an illusion. Okay, so if you've been in some sort of long, systematic loop, right? You may find out that it was just like, it felt like it was just a dream or a nightmare. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Now, in the Queen of Hearts, she had like a really bad temper. So there might be somebody that you consider that has a bad temper. Or you could have come into some sort of experience where you're hanging out with somebody and then you could see that they had a side where they could get temperamental, is what I want to say. And when she would get mad, she would pronounce off with their heads, right? And it was like a total disregard for fairness or justice. So you could feel like there's somebody that is not fair or just. Okay. Now it's also symbolic of the dangers of unchecked power and the potential for tyranny. Okay, and this is the Queen of Hearts. Okay, and when authority is wielded capriciously and without regard or fairness, um, there's yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't feel like it's kind of like Dada art. Some things aren't meant for you to analyze, and you could drive yourself nuts. I think that's the message. You could drive yourself nuts trying to analyze what is not meant to be understood. It's just the absurdity of it all. Okay. Okay, so now I'm getting some theater of the absurd, French. Okay, so perhaps maybe some French literature and that kind of stuff, the theater of the absurd, might bring some understanding to someone. Okay, now, all right, so, or maybe it's not understanding. Maybe it's just, but you're supposed to just enjoy the eccentricity of it all, or exquisiteness, or if it's shadow you're dealing with, just uh, passing time, right? Okay. All right, let's see. What else? So then there's like, oh, there's an underlying feeling of wanting to be free. And I feel like that's just the Aquarius energy. Okay. But then it's like kind of questioning how much, let's say you have problems with mother, right? Or father, or anybody that is a figure of authority. Okay. Then that's where it comes in. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So then, see these? Okay. So then it's like when you get older, or let's say you've lived some, right? Um, you kind of see through the veil and the illusion of authority. It's like they're all playing their part, right? Okay. And the Queen of Hearts in her court, right, they're revealed as nothing but a pack of cards. So it's like really asking you to look at what you give value to and the people you give high authority to, or maybe you place them on a pedestal where they don't belong there, right? Okay, something like that. And it's talking about the illusory nature of their authority. So it may just even be just a short passing time, right? Okay. Or 4 years. Oh, Lordy. Okay. So what's interesting is, okay, so I wrote this little note. Okay, so in this, it suggested that power in Wonderland was not based on genuine legitimacy, but rather the appearances and perception of authority. Okay, so it's like they weren't even that. Okay, so that's the kind of thing you have to look at your life or your segment of time, or even just the few months, right, that you've been in 2025, and taking a look at that. Okay, Have you been giving some people too much power and too much credit that really belongs to you? Okay. All right, now. Okay, so the thing about this is, in the Pisces reading, courage came up. It was like building that self esteem, ego, having a healthy ego, and courage, right? And I feel like Alice represents that. Okay. And self awareness. So, see, that's what separates Alice from the others, I feel like, is that awareness. Okay. Even though at the end it's interesting. Okay. All right, now what else? Because she's kind of going through this experience and she's starting to discover herself, even though it's kind of chaotic and absurd. Okay. And seeing who she really is. Okay. So it also has a theme of awakening in it, this story. Awakening in the nonsensical um, setting, right, of Wonderland. So if we're not talking about Wonderland and we're talking about your world in this earth, and it's like waking up, even as crazy as things are in the world, to who you are. Okay. And it is nonsensical, right? And as I say that, it's almost as if Earth and Wonderland could be one and the same, right? All right, now let's talk about the suits for a minute, since this is a house of cards and it has all the suits, right? Um, so, um, let's see. The clubs are soldiers, and you got, let's see, how many clubs did you get? You got one, two, you got two, then the three, and so these could represent soldiers that you know in your life. Okay, or you could be the soldier. Okay, soldier of love, soldier of courage, soldier of freedom. Okay, soldier of self awakening. Okay, and the spades. Did you get? You got the ace of spades. Oh, I wanted to talk about that. Okay, so the ace of spades. Okay, so now they're in the garden, right? And what's fascinating about that is that the spades, um, they're like the gardeners. Okay, so I thought that was interesting. Okay, so clubs were soldiers, spades were gardeners, serving as gardeners. Okay, and then they were in, so this is like a new beginning and like sowing the seeds. Okay, all right, so planting new seeds. Okay, and what else? The diamonds were courtiers, and the hearts were the royal family. But I only picked up clubs, spades, and the diamond. Okay. All right. And anything else about that? Right. So I felt like, I felt like you're around a lot of people, whoever this reading is for. It's like you're around a lot of people. There may be times of solitude, but the feeling was like, when they're out in the garden and they're playing that game. Okay. Croquet. Okay. Um, yeah, it kind of takes me back to Dada art. It's like, you might even enjoy Dada art if you go look it up, because right now things are so crazy that it might help you to appreciate, things that you feel like maybe don't have meaning, and it's just like things filling in the substance. Okay, the substance filling in the ethers. Okay, filling out, or materializing. Okay. All right. Is there anything else I wanted to? I wrote down little notes about symbolism in the Alice in Wonderland, but I think that's it. Yeah, so if you might even feel like you're in some sort of loop where you feel like you're in some sort of framework that doesn't make any sense. Okay. And but I feel like, oh yeah, that's right. I picked up a bunch of cards and I forgot about those. Oh, okay. All right, so this is a thing you could do, right? If there's someone bugging you or saying something, or you know, you could always, if you gave them too much value, like authority, right? And you want to pull your power back, you could say even this to yourself: just a pack of cards, right? Just a pack of cards. And that could remind you, um, if there's some sort of character that feels kind of antagonistic. Okay. But the good news is she becomes self aware. And so that means that you're waking up and you're becoming more aware too. Now, people have different time, people experience awakening in different ways. And sometimes they may go through a period where they go to sleep, and then sometimes they may have a period where they're just wide awake, right? But what I wanted to say was, if that was you that felt like there's some sort of underlying tension, then what you want to do is perhaps maybe get more sleep. It could be as simple as that for some people. Just figure out how you can squeeze in more sleep. And why do I say that? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Now these were the solutions. Okay. And this little mouse was one of the solutions. Okay. And this little mouse kept falling asleep in the story. So it could be like trying to figure out how you could get a catnap here and a catnap there, here catnap here, everywhere catnap. But some people can do that, like me. I could do that. Some people can't. And if you have to be aware of your environment, maybe you don't have the luxury to do that, like if you're in security or something. But what I will say is you might try, when you get a chance, some sort of transcendental meditation. It may help you. Okay. Or even you could set your, even if it's like 15 or 20 minutes, I feel like it could help for some people. Okay. All right. Now, trees and leaves. There's a birdhouse here, and there's a ladder. That was coming up in another reading. When birds fly. You don't need a ladder. Okay. All right. So am I at the solution yet? Because I already touched on one. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Now, these wanted to come out. And I feel like, even though they didn't come out, that they could actually help.